is how to start Facebook advertising right in 2022. I think there are a few pointers that I want to share with you. First thing first is really, if you want to start advertising on Facebook right now, please do not start with a personal profile ad account anymore. Like if you are running ads on Facebook, I mean, you definitely want to build a relationship with Facebook and tell Facebook that, hey, you're a business entity and you mean business. And you definitely want to go on Business Manager. So all you need to do is just go to business.facebook.com, and eventually you now probably will start with the business suite, and then after that, in the more settings part, you'll be able to set up a business manager. But if you go directly to business.facebook.com/overview, if I'm not mistaken, that it will actually force you to open a business manager. Now business manager is like a container where within, it's like a business entity whereby inside there you can actually have multiple, let's say, Facebook pages, multiple ad account, and you can actually add multiple people in as your member, and you can actually assign pages or ad account individually to each and every one of them. And of course, the other thing is you are able to work with external parties as partners, which is very important because, like, I do not, if you tell me that you're still actually sharing an account with your, let's say, agency, and you give them the login and all this kind of thing, or you add them into your business, or not business manager, your ad account or your Facebook page, and to let them manage or something like that, it's actually quite unbelievable, because now we have been using business manager for a long time, and it's actually best to do business manager because everything you do over there is actually very clean cut. Let's say if you work with an agency and you don't want to work with them anymore, you just need to remove them from your partner list and they lost access to all your assets. So that's how I think you should start. Basically, it's very important because we don't want to get complicated. We don't want to get into complicated and sticky situation anymore. So start with business manager is also very important because the moment you start a business manager, you can submit your business account, like your business certificate to actually verify a business if you want to. But essentially, you're telling Facebook that you're a business entity, and whenever there's anything happens, right, it's a lot easier in a way for you to get support from Facebook, because in business manager, it's more visible. I mean, there is a very clear, I mean, very important section where you can actually try to get help, and part of it is to actually start talking to Facebook representative right away. So this is kind of a way that you want to get support from them, right? So starting right is actually very important. I always say, a lot of people just come in, and because you have an ad, you have a profile, you start running ads, and eventually you will get into some ban issues and all that, and you don't know what to do, right? But start with a business manager is always a good place to start. Okay, and CYC is still here to stay, although fragmentation is really happening right now. Oh, I think that's about the Facebook topic. Yeah, I totally agree. But yeah, so that's the first thing I would say. Start with business manager. Okay, start with business manager is very important. Just go to business.facebook.com, and start a business manager. Everything will, I mean, build everything fundamentally right. I think that's the first thing. And second thing is, I mean, up to now, when you're running ads on Facebook, please do not only use boost posts. Okay, you don't want to come into Facebook advertising and still doing boost posts. First thing first, I'm not saying boost posts is useless, but there are a lot more objectives available. Now, we used to have 11 objectives. Now, because of the ODEX, the outcome driven ads experience, okay, they group it into 6 categories where it allows you to really define what you want to achieve. Like, let's say if you want to go for sales, there are certain objectives available under sales. If you want to go for leads, there are certain objectives under leads. So it's really important for you to understand what you really want to achieve when it comes to Facebook advertising, right? I would say, if you want to start it right, the first thing first I would say is definitely you have to start with really the end in mind. Like, if you want to get purchased, then be very clear that what you want is really purchase. But in order to get purchased, what would get you the so-called, what are the actions that will lead to purchase? So you need to be very, very clear. Like, for example, if you really want purchase and you run engagement, which is you boost a post, then I would say almost 99%, I would say the campaign is not going to really work well. Why? Because the moment you actually use a boost post or engagement and objective, then you are running ads to target people who are likely to engage. And people who are likely to engage are not likely to go over to your website and purchase on your website if you want to really get website purchase. So that's something that you have to be very clear right now, please. Okay, Facebook advertising has been around for a long time. Please do not go back to the same so-called mistake anymore. You gotta really understand Facebook ads objective. So if you want to really understand Facebook ads objective, I actually published a free training, okay, which I did it with my Jason Nation members. Just go over to my YouTube channel and look for Facebook Odex. Okay, Facebook Odex is a 1.5 hour training that I did with my like Jason Nation members. And in there, I actually walk you through the meaning behind each and every one of the objectives and how do you choose the right objective. And of course, with some detailed walkthrough about how do you navigate the Facebook ads Odex. That's something that I really believe you have to really look into. Right? But if you're watching the replay, I'll put the link in the description already. Look for it. So yeah, understanding objective well is really, really important because you don't want to start wrong. That's it. The topic is how to start Facebook advertising right in 2022, right? So other than objective, other than the business manager, the next one is really you have to understand your objective, and everything follows. Of course, they are equally important, like your audience targeting and your creative. But if you start with the wrong objective, everything is gonna fall apart. Okay, that's what I want to say. And and the third thing is, I would say a lot of people will ask me, Jason, how do I start? What is the right budget to start? In my opinion, just start. Go for the right objective, and then go with a budget that you feel comfortable. Like a lot of people ask me, what is the best budget to start? I would say the budget that you are comfortable with. All right. No, it's not carved from the stone that you have to start with $100. No. Okay, and it's not carved from the stone that you can't start with $1. In fact, the minimum to start running ads on Facebook is $1 US. Okay, if you're comfortable with that first, then go in, or $5, it's fine. Why? Because you just need to go in, start running ads, get a hang of it, let the metrics coming in and let the numbers coming in. You have to get all these numbers in, then only you are able to analyze whether are you doing it right or wrong. Because without having the numbers, it's very difficult to know whether you are doing it right or wrong. And it's also very important for you to start practicing with a lower budget that you're more comfortable with. If I tell you to start with $100, then you probably will feel a lot of kind of pressure on that. But start with one. Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. Nobody's going to laugh at you. Facebook is not going to laugh at you. So start with one and go in and really practice Facebook advertising. I think that's really the most important third point that I want to share with you. And the fourth one, which is the most important one, is when you run ads on Facebook, if you're new, be ready to be banned or restricted or whatever reason. Be ready to face your ad account being banned or being restricted, or your personal profile being banned or being restricted, because that's a very natural thing that Facebook is probably going to do on every one of the advertisers around, because all of us who advertise on Facebook have gone through it. Some of them even went through it multiple times. Why? Because what Facebook is trying to do here is, first thing first, for advertisers, they want to make sure that you're a real human. So they want you to validate your identity. So if you run ads on Facebook, if you have your account banned and all that, go into it. I have another video talking about how do you actually kind of like, what do we call that? What should you do if you have your account banned? How do we actually go through the identity verification? So I have another video which you can actually go find on my YouTube channel, or I would actually put it in the description later. So first thing first, if you get banned, right, one of the most probable reason is they want you to validate your identity, which you just need to submit your IC or ID or your passport or your driving license. And once it gets verified, and after that, then you will actually request for review to get your ad account unbanned, or to lift the ban on your ad account, or lift the restrictions on your ad account, and everything should come back to normal. Sometimes this process can take weeks. Sometimes this process can be very fast. You just have to be patient. And one thing good is, if you start with business manager, then you can always start talking to them and message them and ask them about the progress, and to follow up with them, and all these kind of things. So be ready. This is definitely going to happen. This is definitely going to happen, because you can't run away from this anymore. Okay? And somebody would say that I'm right. Ad account is damn sensitive. It's a fresh account. It's been a while. Yes. Especially if you're new. That's why if you're really starting new, then that's really something that you can't run away. It usually would happen. So you just have to deal with it. You just have to be cool with it. Don't panic, and do everything, whatever they want you to do. Okay, so that's the fourth point. And I wanted to say this, but then Chiwai brought it up as the fifth point. Thanks, Chiwai, which is very important. Read up the policy, which sometimes can be a bit crazy. the slightest harmless thing within your ad. I mean, totally agree. You have to go to Facebook ads, Facebook advertising policy or promotion policy. Just Google Facebook ads policy. It will be a list, a damn long list. Read through them. Okay. My advice is very simple. Don't do anything Facebook do not allow you to do. Don't run ads on any product that Facebook do not allow you to run ads on. And even if it's a gray area, then you have to understand you're playing a gray area game. So when they ban you, then you don't go and cry, okay? Because it's not allowed, and you still run ads for it. Then I mean, you know the consequences, right? Like a lot of people will come back and ask me, Jason, I run a online gaming ad. Like, can you actually help me bypass all these things? There is no way to bypass. You're running, actually, come on, man, you're playing on other people's stuff. This is their place. Facebook and Instagram belongs to Facebook and Instagram. So if you want to be there, you have to play by the rules, isn't it? So you just have to make sure that your product is suitable for Facebook ads. If it's not, then, well, maybe if you really still want to do it, of course you can. There are a lot of people who are still running ads for gaming, for a lot of like all this kind of stuff, but you have to understand the consequences. All right, you'll get disabled, you'll get banned, your ad will get disapproved. All these things are very normal to you. You just have to deal with it. All right, so that's what I think you should be doing in terms of starting Facebook advertising right in 2022.